You look incredible.
Well, thank you. I got all dressed up
Yes.
for you in my tie-dye to represent my hippie songs that I've been.
Few figures in American cultural history have managed to become as universally beloved as Dolly Parton. She was, at various points in her extraordinary 6-decade career, a chart-topping singer, a prolific songwriter, an Oscar-nominated actress, a savvy entrepreneur, and one of the most generous philanthropists in the entertainment industry. Born into grinding poverty in the Great Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee, she rose to become a global icon recognized on every continent, admired as much for her music as for her wit, generosity, and refusal to ever take herself too seriously. Dolly Parton died on August 25, 2026, in Nashville, Tennessee, at the age of 80, leaving behind a legacy that reshaped country music and inspired generations of artists across every genre. This is the story of her life. Dolly Rebecca Parton was born on January 19, 1946, in a one-room cabin on the banks of the Little Pigeon River near Sevierville, Tennessee, in the Great Smoky Mountains. She was the fourth of what would eventually be 12 children born to Robert Lee Parton and Avi Lee Parton. The family's cabin had no electricity, and money was scarce. Dolly would later describe her upbringing as one of dirt-poor mountain hardship, the kind of childhood that shaped both her humility and her enormous ambition. Music was woven into the fabric of the Parton household from the very beginning. The family gathered around a battery-powered radio to listen to the Grand Ole Opry, and Dolly's mother's side of the family, the musically gifted Owens clan, nurtured her talents early. Her father could not read or write, but he possessed an innate storytelling ability that Dolly often credited as a foundational influence on her songwriting. Her mother's family filled the house with the old ballads, hymns, and mountain melodies of Appalachia, a musical inheritance that would echo throughout Dolly's entire catalog. By most accounts, Dolly began writing songs by the age of 5, crafting simple tunes before she even fully understood the mechanics of composition. Her uncle, Bill Owens, recognized her gift and became one of her earliest mentors and collaborators, helping shape her natural talent into something more polished. When she was about 8 years old, she received a guitar as a gift, and from that point on, her path seemed set. She built her first makeshift instrument out of an old mandolin and 2 bass guitar strings before she ever owned a proper guitar, a testament to how badly she wanted to make music, even without the means to do so easily. Dolly's talent did not stay hidden for long. By age 10, she was already appearing regularly on a local Knoxville television program, The Cass Walker Show, earning a modest but real wage, reportedly around $20 a week, for a child of the rural South in the 1950s. She also began recording professionally as a young teenager. At 13, she cut her first single, Puppy Love, for the small Louisiana label Gold Band Records. That same year marked another pivotal milestone. She made her first appearance at the Grand Ole Opry. As the story goes, an enthusiastic uncle essentially pushed her onto the stage, unconcerned with the Opry's usual rules about who could and could not perform. It was there, backstage as a wide-eyed teenager, that she is said to have first crossed paths with Johnny Cash, whose encouragement left a lasting impression on the young performer and helped affirm that she was on the right path. The day after graduating from Sevier County High School in 1964, the first in her family to earn a diploma, 18-year-old Dolly Parton packed a cardboard suitcase and boarded a bus bound for Nashville. She arrived with little more than talent, determination, and the conviction that she was destined for a life in music. On her very first day in the city, fate delivered one of the most enduring partnerships of her life. At the Wishy-Washy laundromat, she met a young asphalt contractor named Carl Dean. It was, by her own later account, close to love at first sight. The two would go on to marry on May 30th, 1966, in Ringgold, Georgia, beginning a marriage that would last nearly 60 years, weathering the constant demands and temptations of Dolly's skyrocketing fame, while Carl largely stayed out of the public eye, content to let his wife shine. Professionally, Nashville was not an instant fairy tale. Parton spent her first years in the city working to establish herself, first gaining traction as a songwriter rather than as a performer in her own right. She signed a publishing deal and began placing compositions with other country artists. Success came gradually. Songs she co-wrote with her uncle Bill Owens became hits for singer Bill Phillips in the mid-1960s, and her songwriting reputation began to grow within Nashville's tight-knit music industry. She signed with Monument Records in 1965, where executives initially tried to position her as a pop vocalist before relenting and allowing her to record country material. Her single, Dumb Blonde, a wry rebuke of the era's blonde bimbo stereotypes, became her first entry on the country charts and hinted at the sharp, subversive wit that would define much of her later songwriting. The true turning point in Dolly Parton's early career arrived in 1967, when she received a call to join the Porter Wagoner Show, one of country music's most popular syndicated television programs. Wagoner, a flashy, rhinestone-clad Grand Ole Opry star, was searching for a new singing partner after his previous duet partner, Norma Jean, departed the show. Parton stepped into the role and quickly became a fixture of the program, appearing alongside Wagoner in a partnership that would stretch across 7 years. The exposure was transformative. Through her regular appearances on Wagoner's show, Parton's voice and persona reached households across the country, well beyond the reach of radio alone. The pairing also produced a long run of chart-topping duet albums released through RCA Records, the label to which Wagoner helped bring her. During this period, she also released her debut solo album, Hello, I'm Dolly, in 1967, which included the singles Dumb Blonde and Something Fishy, and signaled that she had ambitions well beyond simply being someone else's singing partner. It was during her partnership with Wagoner that Parton wrote one of the most autobiographical and beloved songs of her career, Coat of Many Colors, released in 1971. The song recounted a true story from her impoverished childhood, her mother sewing her a coat from scraps of fabric, and the ridicule she endured from classmates who did not understand the coat's meaning to her. It remains among the most celebrated compositions of her career and a defining example of the deeply personal, plain-spoken songwriting style that separated her from many of her Nashville peers. By the early 1970s, Parton had grown restless within the confines of the Wagoner partnership. She wanted creative independence and the freedom to build a solo career on her own terms. The split, when it finally came in 1974, was reportedly difficult and emotionally fraught for both parties, given how much they had built together. It was around this pivotal moment that she wrote one of her most famous songs, I Will Always Love You, a heartfelt farewell that doubled as both a personal message to Wagoner and a declaration of her own independence. The song would top the country charts on its own merits, not once but multiple times over the following decades, and would eventually become one of the best-known songs in American popular music when Whitney Houston recorded her towering cover version for the 1992 film The Bodyguard, a rendition that became the best-selling single by a female artist in music history. Freed from the Wagoner partnership, Parton spent the mid to late 1970s establishing herself as one of country music's biggest solo stars. Her songwriting output during this period was staggering. By some estimates, she had written and published several hundred songs by the mid-1990s, supplying material not only for her own recordings, but for a wide range of other performers as well. Her voice, a distinctive high soprano marked by a fast natural vibrato and a warm mountain twang, became instantly recognizable on country radio. Parton's ambitions, however, extended well beyond the country charts. She made a deliberate and, at the time, controversial decision to pursue crossover success in the broader pop market, a move that some in the country establishment viewed skeptically. The gamble paid off. Her 1977 song, Here You Come Again, became a massive pop and country crossover hit, opening the door to a decade in which Parton would become not just a country star, but a genuine mainstream celebrity, recognized well outside the world of Nashville. That expanded fame reached new heights in 1980, when Parton starred alongside Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin in the workplace comedy 9 to 5. She not only acted in the film but wrote its title song, a bouncy, percussive anthem that doubled as a sharp commentary on gender inequality in the American workplace. The song became a massive hit and an enduring feminist standard, and the film itself became a box office success, cementing Parton's status as a genuine Hollywood presence in addition to her music career. She would go on to appear in a string of other films over the following years, including 1982's The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, in which she co-starred with Burt Reynolds. The film paired the two as a prominent on-screen duo and gave Parton the opportunity to showcase her range as a performer, proving she could write, sing, dance, and act, often within the same project. Throughout the 1980s and beyond, Parton continued to release albums and score hits, moving fluidly between traditional country, pop, and even bluegrass and gospel influences, depending on the project. In 1987, she joined forces with fellow country legends Linda Ronstadt and Emmylou Harris for the acclaimed Trio album, a critically celebrated collaboration that highlighted her roots in traditional Appalachian and country harmony singing, even as her solo career continued to push toward pop stardom. She later reunited with Nashville contemporaries Loretta Lynn and Tammy Wynette for the Honky Tonk Angels album, another return to her country roots amid a career that otherwise ranged widely across genres. The final years of Dolly Parton's life were marked by profound personal loss. Her husband of nearly 60 years, Carl Dean, died in March 2025 at the age of 82. The couple's marriage, though rarely seen in public, given Carl's famous aversion to the spotlight, had endured since 1966. And Parton spoke afterward about how deeply the loss affected her. She acknowledged that in the months surrounding Carl's death she had, by her own admission, neglected her own health and well-being while focused on caring for him in his final period. In the time that followed, Parton spoke candidly and repeatedly about her own declining health, describing ongoing struggles that she said had thrown her immune and digestive systems out of whack over the preceding several years. She postponed a planned Las Vegas concert residency that had originally been scheduled for 2026, citing the need for further medical procedures, though she did not disclose the specific nature of her diagnosis. She also missed a planned public appearance at the seasonal opening of her beloved Dollywood theme park, telling fans through social media that she was still dealing with lingering health issues but hoped to return to form soon. As recently as the days before her death, she spoke to reporters about the difficulty of the period, acknowledging that she had been through what she described as hard times that she hadn't given proper attention to while caring for Carl. Dolly Parton died peacefully on August 25, 2026, in Nashville, Tennessee, at the age of 80. Her family did not disclose a specific cause of death. The news was shared with the world through a video message posted to her social media accounts, delivered by her nephew Brian Seaver, who had also served as her head of security for more than 2 decades, a role his own father had held before him. Seaver described the emotional weight of fulfilling a request Parton had made of him years earlier, to be the one to deliver the news whenever the time eventually came. In the video, he spoke of Parton being reunited in death with Carl, with her parents, and with the many family members who preceded her, including several of her siblings who had passed in recent years, among them her brother Coy Denver Parton, who died in 2026 following the earlier deaths of brothers Larry, David, Randy, and Floyd. In keeping with Parton's own wishes, her immediate family held a small private funeral service rather than a large public event. Fans and admirers around the world were instead encouraged to share tributes to her on social media or through messages left on her official website. In lieu of flowers, the family asked that well-wishers consider making donations to Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, the literacy program that stood as one of the enduring cornerstones of her charitable legacy.